artistas mais destacados da atualidade. Ele faz de sua arte um instrumento de crítica aos abusos de governos autoritários e entende que seu trabalho é dar voz aos que não têm. Integrante da primeira geração de chineses que pôde estudar fora do país, viveu nos Estados Unidos e na Europa, onde intensificou sua luta pela liberdade de expressão e passou a manifestar o ativismo com maior vigor em suas obras. Um de seus trabalhos mais recentes aborda a crise de refugiados, tema do filme Human Flow, que trata do destino das pessoas que não têm para onde ir. O artista plástico, fotógrafo e documentarista Ai WeiWei é o convidado de hoje do Roda Viva.
Bem-vindos a mais este Roda Viva, o mais tradicional programa de entrevistas da TV brasileira. Hoje temos como convidado o artista plástico chinês Ai WeiWei. Estamos no ar em todo o país, pela TV Cultura, pelas emissoras afiliadas, pelo nosso canal no YouTube e pela nossa página no Facebook. Para conversar com Ai WeiWei, convidamos Robinson Borges, editor de Cultura do jornal Valor Econômico, Jochen Volz, diretor-geral da Pinacoteca de São Paulo, Márcia Fortes, jornalista e empresária cultural, Fernando Schüler, professor do INSPER e curador do Fronteiras do Pensamento, Marcello Dantas, curador da exposição de Ai WeiWei, Ivan Finotti, repórter do jornal Folha de São Paulo. E somos acompanhados pelo nosso artista residente, Paulo Caruso, com desenhos feitos em tempo real. WeiWei, muito obrigado, bem-vindo. Primeira pergunta seria: o que o trouxe ao Brasil? Por que o senhor foi atraído pelo Brasil?
Well, to maybe make the story shorter, I was introduced by my father when I was very young. We were living in a very remote Gobi Desert area. My father was exiled. So that time he told me something about South America or Latin America. And his trip passing Brazil to Chile to meet this poet, Pablo Neruda. And he brought back a lot of photos, and he wrote beautiful poetry about his experience in South America. So it's always, for me, it's a place full of color and imagination.
E, o senhor se lembra de alguma coisa que ele tem escrito sobre o Brasil? Algum verso, alguma coisa, alguma frase?
I cannot memorize
No.
it, yeah, but he did write a lot about, he loves here, and that's right before he was being punished. Probably one of his last trip outside of China.
Vamos começar a nossa rodada pela Márcia, por favor.
Bom, você acaba de mencionar que o seu pai veio ao Brasil há algumas décadas e voltou com essa impressão de que o Brasil seria um lugar de muita cor e imaginação. Agora você acaba de trabalhar por muitos meses aqui no Brasil com comunidades locais, tanto no Nordeste, em Juazeiro do Norte, também, onde mais?
Trancoso.
Em Trancoso, na Bahia,
Trancoso.
E também aqui em São Paulo, no interior, e com os presidiários do Tremembé. Neste momento atual do Brasil, com a sua experiência junto a essas comunidades, qual seria o quadro que você pintaria sobre a população brasileira agora?
I think what I have experienced is Brazil is most mixed society. You have all kinds of people which quite successfully stay in one location. And, it's just like its environment is very colorful and a lot of forms, a lot of color. And everything for me is very beautiful because the temperature, the people are most friendly here.
Robinson.
No documentário Ai WeiWei, Never Sorry, de 2012, o senhor diz que a liberdade é uma coisa maravilhosa que uma vez que você experimenta, ela finca raízes no seu coração e ninguém pode tirá-la. O senhor acha que o mundo caminha para uma redução do status da liberdade? A liberdade, de alguma maneira, corre risco de poder experimentar? Como é que o senhor vê essa questão?
I think I also said something like freedom is never absolute condition, but always requires a new definition because it changes from time to time. And that's, I think freedom is rather an effort from people who demands freedom. So today we can say, yes, there's a lot of obstacles, a lot of difficulties, a lot of backwards movement, but that means we should really take every individual to act up, to fight for the freedom. Then, that's something we can really call as a freedom. In general, when we talk about freedom, we always think that's been given. No, I don't think that anybody can give you freedom unless you fight for it.
Bom, aproveitando um pouco o tema do Fronteiras do Pensamento desse ano e a fantástica oportunidade da presença do Ai WeiWei, queria retornar um pouquinho à ideia de identidade, não é? E perguntar para o senhor as marcas que deixaram, as memórias que deixaram, a sua vivência ainda como criança, criança, talvez adolescente, a época da Revolução Cultural na China, o período de fechamento, o período de Mao Tse-tung, a experiência com seu pai, a ida ao deserto de Gobi, essa ideia de desterramento. Eu li várias entrevistas, vários textos seus sobre, talvez nesse momento surja a ideia de ser um refugiado, de ser um desterrado, né? De viver em lugar nenhum. Né? Então eu queria lhe perguntar um pouquinho que marcas essa memória lhe deixou, o que o senhor pode nos contar dessa época que para nós é um pouco mítica, não é? Na época de fechamento, na época da queima dos livros, enfim, o que isso lhe marcou e na sua obra?
I think we all have been through different kind of time. We all have personal experience. We all have our own childhood, and those experiences always will come back when you growing older, like me. And I never expected, those experiences are so important, even the most unfortunate experience. When my father was exiled, it's about 20 years, he's forbidden to write. He was a writer, most celebrated poet in China, but for a writer, forbidden to write for almost 20 years is most difficult life you can imagine. The difficulty is not he was punished, misunderstood, or to do hard labor works, insulting, beaten, or living through the discrimination or whole family. The most important thing is he's not allowed to write. So one individual, a human like him, not to allowed to write, that means he basically is dead. He still have a living body, but his mind cannot work, cannot function. So those things, of course, when I was young, I don't understand this all. I think this is just like a natural experience. It's like nature. It's like raining, so you have to accept it. You don't have other choice. Everywhere it's wet, and you don't even think you're unfortunate because you don't see anybody is fortunate. You don't even see people who put this kind of punishment on you is fair. That means they're also unfortunate, have to do it. So, but till very late, till, gradually, mostly because I get on internet, when you have a platform, can discuss matters. Those matters not necessarily relate to me. Just general matters relate to justice, relate to social topics. I start to give opinions on the internet. And I realize so many people like my writing. They're existing somewhere. They never had a chance to express themselves, either from their fear or they don't have the means to carry their ideas out. So that time I do feel some responsibility to speak out loud, and you know, I have a lot of things to argue about in China. Then I get all kind of trouble, of course, you know, detained, beaten, you know, all kind of problems. But I never feel sad about it, because I always think that is quite rewarding. You take such authoritarian society, put such a pressure on you, that means they're really scared. Otherwise, why they have to do it? I'm just an artist or individual, frankly talk about my ideas, but they consider me a most dangerous person, because simply there's no one willing to speak out, or they already lost the capacity, or you know, to speak out. To speak out, you need a lot of not only courage, but rather to know how to use the plain language to make the idea very clear. So then later have a chance to leave the nation, China, and come to the West. And still, my concern is about humanity, human rights, freedom of speech, which I know is not only in China. In every nation would have same problem, you know. So I started to focus on the refugee situation, because that was quite a crisis. So from the focus, I learned a lot. I always want to be involved, to be deeply involved, and to focus on the topic.
Finotti, por favor, sua pergunta.
Sr. WeiWei, boa noite. Queria te perguntar qual o senhor acha que é a função da arte e, mais especificamente, qual é a função da sua arte hoje?
Well, we only know art functions very mysteriously, which we would say it functions with human emotions, our sensitivity, and our ideology. And all those cannot be clearly defined. It's always developed, and always according to different culture, language, history, religion. So function of art is never can be fixed, and never can be clearly told, because it's always need to be have a new definition. So I think I don't know why people have to always argue about art and politics. I think every art has to relate itself to aesthetics, which always related with moral and with philosophy. Because it's non-aesthetics, just purely aesthetics. It always relate to our judgment, our class, you know, or you know, even our taste are very different. You know, we all know that. We all have different kind of beauty. Africans seek very different beauty from Europeans or from people from India or China. So if we understand, if we not just talk about style, we talk about what is art, and it's always related to political situation, related to our status, or understanding of who we are, and what kind of world we are in. So I never can separate art with politics in my case, and I always wondering how people can separate it.
Agora, Jochen, é sua vez, por favor, sua pergunta.
Sim, é um prazer. Eu acho que, partindo um pouco da pergunta do Finotti, talvez a questão é de escala, uma questão de escala. Eu acho que assim, a gente sabe que o alcance da arte, das instituições de arte, é sempre um pouco limitado ao final. Ele alcança, mas ele alcança dentro de um circuito, devido a uma linguagem, devido aos limites de traduzibilidade, etc. No seu caso é diferente, independente, eu acho que você é um dos artistas mais conhecidos no mundo, porque você consegue trabalhar além de um circuito de arte. E essa linha muito fina, independente se você trabalha de uma escultura enorme ou um gesto, uma fotografia de um gesto de mão quase íntima, sempre ele ganha uma escala social independente da dimensão. E eu acho que isso é uma qualidade na sua obra, que você permeia isso, o ato, a obra, a linguagem e a comunicação à volta da obra, de um balanço muito, muito fino. Quando na sua trajetória como artista, você percebeu que as obras que você fazia ou faz, de repente ganham uma dimensão até política em nível nacional e internacional. Assim, quando você percebeu que essa escala vai muito além da escala das instituições ou do mundo de arte?
Well, it's a good question. I living in very different society. I lived under communist, very, very severe about any kind of expression and a lot of political education from Chairman Mao's world. So when we are growing up, Chairman Mao always say criticism and self-criticism is the most important too. And every communist should learn how to use those tools. I think I'm quite benefited by the kind of education this Marx earlier education about how art functions in the society. But of course, it's such a failure in China, because they take the very bottom freedom of speech away. So it purely become a propaganda. So for years, I completely give up the idea of being an artist. Then I went to United States for 12 years, stayed in 10 years in New York. Try to become an artist. But I realized in the capital society, it's not easy for immigrants and and also for someone with very low economic status to survive in New York City. Is not easy. And also, I don't think I fit into that kind of circle. You always have art circle, and the people speak same kind of language, make same kind of jokes, and have same kind of value to say what is important or not. So that it doesn't reflect freedom for me. So I think it doesn't fit into that landscape at all. So I went back to China. China changed. It became capitalized. State capitalism is with very severe control of society, but at the same time have a lot of anything goes. It's crazy. It's mad. So I become an outsider from my own nation. I don't know what to do. So I started promoting local underground art, create books, curating art shows, and then gradually become an architect and started doing very practical work. But during this long period of time, I never think I will become an artist again, because basically it's something I already created, and it's not so much attractive to me. But until one day I get on internet, so I get deeply involved with writing, because writing is a skill I always want to have, because I really admire any writer, my father or all those poet. So I started writing. I realized writing can be so precisely carry your ideas and to build up this kind of communication to people. I always imagine somewhere in China, in a very dark corner, someone poor, never had a chance to move out, incapable to be part of a society, can read my post, can read what I write. I think that is the most powerful image and the most beautiful image I could create, you know. So I don't know, then later writing got me into so much problems. That's also beyond my understanding. I thought, you know, writing can be so powerful. You know, the powerful state can really scared by one individual. You know, just a few sentences I put on, like midnight or wake up in the early morning, 3 o'clock, put a few sentences there.
Algumas frases que você tenha colocado na internet, por exemplo.
You can see this kind of sentence always on Twitter, but I think those are really challenging to a society like in China, because rarely people can put a joke or put something almost ridiculous. It makes this kind of structure collapse. So should I answer you or answer him?
Não, pode voltar para o Fernando, mas eu queria só que você desse um exemplo de uma dessas frases que você colocou.
Yeah, it's too many. I did writing over 1 million words. A piled up would be at least 10 books. I get quite mad. You know, I would write 3 articles a day. And at that time, I realized I found to answer your question, to reach the people I really care about. You know, I don't want just to put a painting in a white cube to impress a few people which is a small circle people. And they always judge things from the same kind of judgment, with same kind of habit, you know. It's like a dentist look at everybody, they think you have a tooth problem. You know, they forget about the, you know, other part of your life, and what you eat and how you, what kind of drink you like to have. So I feel this is amazing. So that's the kind of people I want to talk to. So I always consciously make my art to bridge the people who desire to be expressed, who need to have a voice, and into the art institution, because this is existing structure. You know, they have beautiful museums, a lot of newspaper critics, and you know, this is very useful. It's like you don't have to build your own bridge. The bridge is there. But I will move different kind of vehicles to the bridge, different crowd. That's my intention.
Ok, a gente vai recomeçar o outro bloco com o Marcello, que não falou, e depois de um rápido intervalo, voltamos já com o artista plástico Ai WeiWei. Fique aí, é só um instante. Estamos de volta com o artista multimídia chinês Ai WeiWei. Vamos começar essa rodada com o Marcello Dantas, que não tinha perguntado ainda no primeiro bloco. Marcello, por favor.
WeiWei, um pedaço importante da história da arte brasileira foi marcado por artistas viajantes, artistas que saíram pelo interior do Brasil em busca de retratar uma imagem que nem nós mesmos tínhamos, nem o mundo tinha do que era o Brasil. Eu pude ver você entrando pela Bahia, entrando pelo Brasil, tentando capturar, tentando modelar a cultura brasileira, seja nas frutas, seja nas pessoas, seja nos objetos, na tentativa de modelar uma cultura, de dar uma forma tridimensional a essa cultura. Mas aí teve um momento que você se deparou com essa árvore, uma árvore de 36 metros, de 1.200 anos, que mudou um pouco a tua relação com toda a tentativa de enfrentar esse projeto, porque você encontrou talvez uma escala, né, à sua altura, à altura da sua ambição. E você começou um projeto quase que fitzcarraldo, um projeto de loucura, de você entrar dentro de uma reserva natural, de uma árvore que está lá se segurando em pé, e tentar modelar essa árvore e transformar ela numa escultura que um dia vai ficar em pé de novo.
Isso é na Bahia, né?
Isso é na Bahia, em Trancoso. E isso custou um volume de recursos enorme, uma quantidade de pessoas, quase meio ano de trabalho, pelo menos, em cima dessa árvore. E é um ato de uma liberdade criativa muito impressionante, assim, você abraçar essa missão louca de tentar copiar a maior árvore que a gente encontrou na natureza naquele local. Por que você fez isso?
It's very difficult for artists to find its own language and vocabulary. If you want to really say something different, you have to find a language, but the language not appear just by itself. The very sense language is about the vocabulary. So what you can really touch and you really emotionally can attach to. What is the reality, both relate to the surrounding, Brazil, and yourself. Sometimes it comes fast, but my case is quite difficult. I have traveled several times to here. I know if I make a work, if it's honest work, I have to really know so much better about what Brazil is about. So to know something better, that means put yourself in the real difficulty. You cannot accept easy answer. It's always easy answers in life in every aspect. But for artists, I think you have to walk alone in the dark to set up a journey which nobody ever took before, or only a few people take. So that's the way you maybe find your own language on the search. So I have been working with elements from nature for a while. Actually, in Chinese tradition, we always have this kind of tradition to relate to highest understanding about philosophy with the nature. We always collect part of the nature, such as a rock, or a root, or a nuts, or some elements in which we think is have a unique shape and form, and it has been existing mysteriously. That kind of mysteriousness shows the coexistence with our intelligence and our emotion and our dream. So I grew up in Gobi Desert. It's very hard to find a real living tree. But in Brazil, it's very hard to find a land without a tree. So that's naturally attract me so much. I always have to stop by the tree, have different kind of flowers and seeds and fruit and everything. My father also is like that. He would even in the most difficult time, he would appreciate a piece of rock or a little roots. He would polish it. He would put it in his hands from wherever he has time. He would touch it or rub that to his face to make it have this kind of patina. So that feeling is actually artist's practice. Even you don't make art, the appreciation, the wondering, and the sense with imagination. So this tree in Trancoso is really give me a good opportunity. But to casting a living tree, which is standing there, is nobody ever did it. So it's very difficult. We have to take all the team from China to do it because they have been casting for me for a long time. And of course, it's very difficult to transfer all those materials of casting, tons of tons, and to the location and put up the scaffolding. So whole practice is like build up a pagoda. It's like a temple, and so beautiful. People start to already forget what it's about, but it's about a daily practice. It's about to add, to make a little bit more towards the end. But why this end and what for is not clear. So it's so much difficulty, but gradually, day by day, and with a lot of stories, happiness, suffering, joy, and desperation, And I should say some of my team members had a psychological problem. Some has been beat by hundreds bees. They have three different kind of colored snakes come to visit us. And, it's this very, very mysterious world. But without set up this very simple task to casting this living tree, I would never understand it. So, it's very meaningful experience only when it brings you from a very unexpected situation and put you in the real difficulty. And you have to try to be calm, very calm, and very peacefully dealing with those problems. And maybe you can survive, and maybe not. So, but the meaning of that kind of experience, I would call it is art, because you cannot use other means to achieve it.
É um modelo em chumbo, não é isso?
De ferro.
De ferro.
Modelado em ferro depois, na China.
Senhor WeiWei, que evidentemente a natureza brasileira chamou muito a sua atenção. Houve algum fruto, alguma coisa especialmente que o senhor gostou muito e assim um sabor, um cheiro, vamos dizer, uma pessoa, algo que tenha realmente impactado o senhor fortemente?
It's very hard to really describe. It reminds me two trips I come to Brazil. The night I have a very deep sleep, and I have wild dreams about women. I'm quite old. I don't have this kind of dreams for decades, but twice I have these very romantic dreams. It's very strange. I don't know, because the smile or because something in the air. I cannot really tell, but it's
uma sensualidade talvez envolvendo tudo.
I cannot tell. It's. I think that's the interesting part about it. You cannot really analyze it, but it does exist.
Márcia?
Eu queria retomar um pouco as questões colocadas pelo Ivan e pelo Jochen em relação à prática artística dentro de um ambiente de censura e traçar um paralelo aqui com o Brasil, que no ano passado nós vimos alguns episódios bem marcantes de censura das artes aqui. Você mesmo participou no MASP conosco numa manifestação contra a censura às artes ano passado, em outubro, quando esteve aqui visitando. Houve uma exposição cancelada no Sul, a Queer Museu, e houve também uma polêmica muito forte de uma performance de um artista que utilizava o seu corpo nu no MAN aqui em São Paulo. E isso gerou essa censura que nós vivemos, gerou uma espécie de autocensura também, porque o MASP inaugurou uma exposição sobre histórias da sexualidade, já com uma proibição para frequentadores abaixo de 18 anos. Então, você viu essa censura gerando uma autocensura. E aí, quando você colocava para o Jochen, que descobriu a mídia social como alcance, como forma de resistência, e ao fazer aqueles posts, é uma pergunta um pouco multicapilar, mas você imaginaria que seria preso? Porque depois, em 2011, você foi preso, segundo o governo, por evasão fiscal, Você imaginaria que seria preso ao fazer aqueles posts, ao postar essas mensagens? Você imagina que você foi preso pelo trabalho ou pelo que você dizia, ou mesmo por evasão fiscal? Você acredita nisso? E o que você diria sobre esse paradoxo complementar entre a censura, que vem gerado tanta autocensura por parte das próprias agentes da arte hoje, tanto no Brasil quanto no mundo afora?
I think the censorship is really come is originized by power. And the power think that the power could be many kind. It could be ideology, and also could be religious, could be culture, some kind of culture habit. The common fear is the objects or art would shaking the foundation of their existence, basically. So very often it's without argument because they're powerful. They can use that power to erase or to delete or to just take it down or shut off a person. But the fundamental idea is from the fear of the liberal thinking or suggest something which can threaten this kind of stability. But the self-censorship also not really just come from fear of that, but really fear of the authority. Because without the self-censor, it cannot exist, such as a museum or funding from somewhere or trustee from whatever the power would affect their future. And so in China, yes, the authority is always there. They're very tough. Basically, it's a military state. The mentality is military. So in any military, we know there's clear rules or regulations, and also hiding rules and hiding regulations. So self-censor in this kind of society is very poisoning because it tells the people giving up the fundamental rights and to obey certain things they not necessarily agree. I think most people even don't agree about it, but are trying to survive in this kind of society. But the censorship without self-censorship is not going to work. And but often they work together. They achieve a lot.
Eu li uma entrevista em que o senhor comentava sobre a evolução da sua carreira e o senhor falava que no início, em um determinado momento, o senhor funcionava mais como uma espécie de lobo solitário brigando contra a injustiça. E depois o senhor passou para ter uma preocupação maior com a condição humana. Como é que foi um pouco essa evolução de uma ação um pouco mais individualista para uma perspectiva mais coletiva, se é que faz sentido isso?
At the beginning, because I mainly working in China, so I can easily calculate what would be the consequence. Because this is very simple. There's not so many people fighting for this kind of those common values. Even common values, the party doesn't exist, doesn't really admit, or to. So, but 2015, I've been giving the passport to leave China. So after this 4 or 5 years of soft detention. And I start to pay attention to the refugee crisis. I think the movement come very naturally when standing on the shore of the Lesbos in Greece. when you see the boats carries those people just at the middle of the night, one after another. Hundreds of people jump out of the boats. Children are crying, women are, old ladies are climbing out of those very wet boat. It's a very dangerous boat in the ocean. Even the good boat, you feel you don't want to get into it because it's so dangerous, with the wind, the coldness. But you see all those people are climbing out of those kind of dinghy boat. Basically, I was shocked. I would not understand the situation. It's completely new experience. But this is in Europe. When you see people are not taking care of them, then you listen to the news, every nation trying to build new fences and trying to push them away, to change their politics, to trying to use all kind of tactics, excuse not to accept those people. Then for somebody coming from a communist society, think this is Europe. It's established freedom, democracy, human dignity, human rights. Doing things like that is unbelievable. This is at that moment, I feel I have to do something to record this part of history. Not just record it. Then we start to develop into a film. We traveled about 23 nations, visited about 40 largest refugee camps all over the world, interviewed 600 people, come out about 900 hours of footage. So my understanding is gradually being built. It's always, first I have to have a sensitivity to say, oh, this is something in my lifetime I will never really understand the meaning, because it's such a conflicts with what I have been, I have established in my understanding. So I decided to do research. We have a big research team, a lot of camera crews going to most difficult area, dangerous area. For me, it's just I have this opportunity to put myself in real situation rather than imagine the situation. And I think I'm fortunate to have a chance to go through this. Now I have a much clearer understanding about what is humanity, what is European policies or so-called democracy or freedom of speech. All those issues become much more clear to me. So what I'm saying is I will never have an idea before I get involved to really put myself in the situation and start from ground zero, actually. My knowledge always have to be destroyed, or my understanding, and I have to reestablish, I would say, the true knowledge. That's from my own action.
Não é quadro muito bonito da humanidade que o senhor viu, né, senhor WeiWei? É quadro bem feio da humanidade, especialmente esse dos refugiados.
I think it helps me to understand human nature, helps me to understand who we are and what kind of society, how fragile our society can be, and how we never went too far. Even scientifically, we developed so fast. Life seems quite easy in many areas and locations, but still we are not very far. Our human nature are still quite. We have our character has never really developed that much. So then it helps you understand how important an individual's effort towards what you believe and to act out, to say what you want to say, and to really express yourself clearly.
Fernando, você quer continuar?
Queria seguir um pouco nessa temática, né? São tantas as questões, mas uma coisa que evidentemente impressiona na sua obra é a multiplicidade de suportes, de áreas, da arquitetura, do cinema, documentário, enfim, as instalações, as artes visuais propriamente ditas. Eu queria lhe perguntar sobre o seu processo criativo. Quer dizer, de onde surgem as ideias? Elas surgem na solidão? Elas surgem em algum tipo de trabalho coletivo? Elas surgem a partir de uma inspiração, a partir da visualização de um insight, ou a partir de uma circunstância? Elas depois se transformam em texto primeiro, ou elas se transformam em uma ideia, elas ficam armazenadas por um tempo, elas ficam hibernando por um tempo. O mercado de arte pressiona de alguma maneira, então também é um problema de oportunidade a partir do que se pode fazer, do que se demanda, do que se é desafiado. O dinheiro tem algum papel no sentido de que algumas coisas podem ser feitas, outras não podem. Os produtores, como Marcello Dantas, têm um papel no sentido de tornarem algumas coisas possíveis e viáveis e outras não. Enfim, há uma sistemática. Você se considera um artista sistemático? Existe algum processo ou isso tudo tem um elemento caótico?
I think the last word, chaos, is very good words. The chaos in China, it means very different. In here, you said it's chaos, but in China, the writing means opportunity. Chaos always means opportunity. And if you think about it in political situation or in personal situation, that's always true. If you look at every chaos, that means one foundation is collapsing or possibility to the state of the nature or condition are facing chaotic condition, but at the same time, a new possibilities established. So it's very hard to say how this so-called creativity comes, but I would say, if my nature, I always, I'm not very well educated. I never finished my university. I'm a very impatient person. I'm very critical, and I don't really fit into almost any social circle or clubs or I'm pretty hard person to be accepted. So my condition today is a kind of miracle because I never expected I would become successful. And the success, the idea of success for me is questionable. Success of what? So maybe, but somebody talked about me is like there's a Chinese game called Go, which is like Chinese chess game, but without, it's only black and white seats. And there's no clear rule. It's not like a Western chess. You have a pawn, you have a queen, you have a horse. They all play certain way. There's a clear rule about it. But in Chinese Go game, every seats have equal opportunity and equal possibilities. So my case is like I threw a seat on the the playboard. It seems nonsense. But gradually, during the play, when time passes, every seat become functioning. I would say that's a perfect case if you describe a situation like me. Because many things I did is very, hard to even to be mentioned. I go through so long and so far away. I've been illegally stayed in the United States for years. I did all kind of physical works. I do house cleaning, babysitting, drawing portraits on the street, gambling, and all kinds of things. People would never think that is what an artist should do. But I did also with joy. I always find the moment to have the joy, and whatever I do, I really enjoyed it. So that gave me perfect position for so-called freedom, because when you talk about freedom, that means you're not necessarily to do so. You don't have to do this. If you have to do it, it's not freedom. So I have been no purpose in my life, or no really clear sense about what I have to do for a long time. And even what I have been doing today, it's quite questionable, because I have doing 100 exhibitions. Always have the same time, I have 4, 5, 6 museum shows at the same time. I always have 100 people working together. And for me, that's also questionable. Should I do it? And why I have to do this? For what purpose? I never really cared about the market. In my lifetime, I never made one phone call to one gallery or museum curators or collectors. I never did once. Even I go to a location, all I cared is where is a good restaurant, or if there is a game I can play. Because you have a lot of casual time at nighttime. What are you going to do? In a very unfamiliar city. When I realized Brazil have no casinos, okay, I had a lot of long sleep, because every night, what are you going to do? I just have to stay in my hotel and wake up for very few minutes. I have to think of where I am, because I traveled 150 destinations in past 3 years. Airport, hotels, and new street. In every street corner, you're trying to find where to go. And, for me, that's my condition. And also, I don't have to do any of them, because life is, for me, I think in Chinese we say, in every corner you can find a meaning. You don't have to really go a long journey to find something meaningful. So, I don't know if I answered your question.
Respondeu sim. Muito obrigado. A gente vai para o próximo bloco, temos um ligeiro intervalo e voltamos daqui a pouquinho com o artista plástico Ai WeiWei. Rapidinho, até. Estamos de volta para o terceiro bloco da entrevista com o artista multimídia chinês Ai WeiWei. WeiWei, sua obra do seu desenho mais conhecido dos brasileiros é o Ninho do Pássaro, que é o estádio olímpico construído em Pequim. O senhor de fato pensava em Ninho do Pássaro quando fez assim um modelo, o desenho do estádio, ou a inspiração foi outra completamente diferente?
Well, when we started to do this stadium, it was a competition, so I was not invited. The one who was invited was Herzog Gemron, the Swiss architecture forum. And they invited me to be part of the team. So the idea of so-called bird nest is it's about, when we look at the bird nest, this appearance, the outlook of a bird nest and its own structure is the same thing. So there's no decoration, there's no the structure and the form cannot be separated. So that idea is quite attractive in the architecture point of view. If we look at many stadiums, they tend to separate the structure and the look because the structure is so big, you have to almost fit into 100,000 people. But because the structure is so big, then you have to somehow to fix the look and to make it more accessible. So we designed this architecture with the idea the structure is the look, and it works perfect well. The idea is to show to create an image which is quite bold, at the same time have the idea is quite free because you can really get into this stadium from every direction because it's a quite even facade from every angle. It doesn't have clear sides. It's just very evenly spread out.
O senhor conhece naturalmente a obra do Oscar Niemeyer, do brasileiro arquiteto Oscar Niemeyer. Ele também falava coisas parecidas, assim, praticamente que a estrutura tinha que se adaptar um pouco à forma e veio se adaptando. Isso, de alguma maneira, o senhor gosta do Niemeyer, gosta das estruturas dele?
Well, of course I heard about him, and my show in Orca is in his building, precisely because his building is so impressive. I think I couldn't think another contemporary architects can have an equal power of architectural thinking. So that attracted me to really want to make my show in his building. Even we never have a chance to meet, but our work can finally to be together. So I designed my show really trying to maximize this architecture's power, because I think these architects have such a powerful ideas and the language, and not every architect would understand it, because in today we say architecture seems quite blooming in every direction, but to get to essential ideas about what architecture is, this man is very, very powerful, and he has his own language. And yesterday I was in his building again in this biennial. I look at the building, it touches me. And today in Orca, I do the almost last exam of my show to see how it functions in the building. Because I'm also architect, I always relate to my work in every museum shows to maximize the original architecture's possibility. I never say architecture is for me to show my work, but I always think my work would bring the best out of the architecture. So that always works very well.
Bom. Marcello.
Uma das atitudes mais interessantes que já vi alguém fazer na internet foi quando você se deu conta que o governo chinês colocava câmeras para filmar a sua casa em Beijing, em diferentes lugares. E você colocou, então, uma outra câmera que filmava o que a câmera filmava e colocou aquilo na internet. Desde então, né, você passou a abraçar o uso da internet como uma forma de explicitar que você não tem segredos. Ou seja, que você neutralizou a capacidade do espião quando você torna público aquilo que o espião está espiando. Então, não serve para nada, porque se todo mundo sabe, você não tem privilégio algum. E você, diferente de outros artistas, ou seja, você abraçou isso de uma forma muito forte no seu diário, né? O seu uso da internet como quase que um rito pessoal. né? Eu acho que hoje a figura do Ai WeiWei é indissociável do seu aparelho celular na mão. Por que você fez isso lá atrás? Quando é que você deu essa virada? Porque num certo momento no passado, você mesmo disse que você nunca tinha tocado num computador antes. E foi o governo chinês que lhe deu um computador para que você começasse a utilizá-lo.
I think my life experience, yes, I was being like dismantled or to be surveilled or to be, people must be hundreds secret police or police trying to find out who this guy is or what's in his mind. And the whole society, I think, is really built up like one single structure just to go that direction. But who am I is not is uncertainty. I don't know who I am, and I'm a product of my curiosity and interest, and that can lead me to anywhere. I don't have clear sight of myself. I always think about, even from their side, so-called their side, or to say, what's in their mind. When they put civilian cameras, 25 of them, around my house, and they barked in my, my electricity cord. They have a lot of secret barks. They have people. They even built a building next to my studio just to maintain this kind of surveillance. They have to listen to, I later learned this kind of device. They always have the human operator within a few hundred yards. So they built a building. They built a building next to me just to have always sitting there to listen to all my conversations. I thought this state take too much energy to do it. Why don't I just set up a camera right above my bed and my office table? And I broadcast it 24 hours a day, so they can see the corners they even cannot put cameras in. So I did it, and I started live stream. After 71 hours, there's millions of people watching. How I sleep, how I pick up on my nose, how my blanket does not cover my body, because when I sleep, I like to be sleeping like a nude. I don't like clothes on me. So it's very, very, very embarrassing image. They even clip it. They even save the image, put it on the internet. I was so embarrassed, but that's, I feel it's very difficult if you put a camera right off in front of above your beds. Then secret police called me and said, WeiWei, shut off your cameras. I said, why is that? What do you like? You have 25 cameras around my compound. I just want you to go one step further. If I can put a camera in my stomach, I even want to do it, Just want to see what is totally about myself. So they said, shut off. This is order. You have to just shut off that, what you have done. So I said, okay, I have to just shut off.
Quer dizer que o senhor fez o seu próprio Big Brother. Que o senhor era o personagem do Big Brother.
Very often, I think the argument is, if you take one step further, the one who argues with me, they would understand the situation. They will not stop, because very often we have an argument is we always stand on our own position. But if we step one step further, the argument can be completely different. So I always use that tactics in my struggle, in every way.
A gente vai ter que ir para um intervalo e voltamos
pouco esse bloco.
em minutos com o artista plástico Ai WeiWei. Fica aí, é só um instantinho. Estamos de volta para o quarto e último bloco da entrevista com o artista plástico chinês Ai WeiWei. Agora a gente vai para a pergunta do Jochen, que não fez a pergunta da outra vez, e do Finotti, não é isso? Jochen.
WeiWei, em 2008, logo depois das Olimpíadas em Beijing, você deu entrevistas dizendo que agora, na China, você estava imaginando que provavelmente a situação dos direitos humanos seria se tornar mais problemático. Em 2016, logo depois das Olimpíadas no Rio de Janeiro, a gente passou por um impeachment, um golpe, a gente passou por uma situação que, desde então, a gente tem vivido um momento onde os mídias sociais têm claramente trabalhado para a gente crer que a gente nunca acreditava, para a gente escutar notícias falsas, e se construiu um ambiente que os direitos humanos parecem ser ameaçados diariamente. Então, minha pergunta é muito simples. Qual é a sua dica para todos nós que estamos assim, militando pelos direitos humanos? Qual a sua dica para um jovem ativista dos direitos humanos?
I think there's no other way. The human rights always would feel would always face crisis if we don't defend its own value. It's always need to be refreshed by new generation, and it takes strong mind, strong heart to protect those rights. It sounds very strange, but it's true, because we always have children to grow up. We always have to point them to a better future and a better possibility. But if we don't defend those rights, there's no guaranteed condition.
Finotti.
WeiWei, agora em outubro, um outro artista com grande preocupação com os direitos humanos também passou pelo Brasil. Eu estou falando do Roger Waters, ex-líder do Pink Floyd. Ele cantou em diversas cidades brasileiras e ele se envolveu numa grande polêmica ao colocar o então candidato à presidência do Brasil, o Jair Bolsonaro, no telão do seu show e associá-lo ao neofascismo que está assolando diversos países no mundo. A polêmica foi que teve muitos aplausos, muitas vaias, e muitos críticos disso disseram que um estrangeiro não deve se meter na política do país que ele visita. Um artista de fora deveria apenas vir cantar suas músicas e entreter o povo. Você, como artista internacional, globalizado, o que você acha desse argumento?
I think there's only foreign politicians, there's no foreign artist. Whoever thinks he's a foreign artist is not true artist. Artist is talking about the universal values, freedom of speech, human rights, and he talks about what he believes, and he pays. He takes the responsibility and pays the price for doing that. So those voices need to be. It's a treasure for the society. Someone can stand out to speak out his voice. It's not necessarily right or wrong. It's very clearly as he believes, and he has rights to speak out.
No dia seguinte à apresentação dele, quando ele projetou o nome de diversos políticos de extrema-direita no mundo hoje e incluiu o nome do então candidato Bolsonaro, no dia seguinte a isso, ele incluiu apenas nome censurado. Ou seja, houve alguma repressão ou por parte dos patrocinadores do tour dele, ou, enfim, não diria que nesse caso tenha sido autocensura. Mas há uma espécie de situação paradoxa também, onde o público estava ali, porque ele foi mais vaiado do que aplaudido, muito mais vaiado do que aplaudido. Então, é como se você fosse pró-guerra e fosse assistir um show do John Lennon, porque ele sempre teve um discurso coerente em defesa dos direitos humanos, e ele projetou ali o que ele acreditava ser uma ascensão perigosa da extrema-direita e ele foi vaiado por isso. Então, ali você tinha um público que pagou, um público de uma elite, que pagou cerca de R$400 para assisti-lo, vaiando a liberdade, né, a expressão dele naquele momento. No dia seguinte, ele colocar essa censura me fez pensar um pouco no caso dessa sua exposição, por exemplo, quando você optou por não usar a Lei Rouanet para patrocinar a sua exposição, dizendo que você não queria ter compromissos com a liberdade de tudo que você criaria. Então, essa exposição que você está trazendo ao Brasil, ela é patrocinada por pessoas físicas brasileiras, eu acho que amantes da arte em geral e do seu trabalho. Então, minha pergunta é, você acredita que o mercado, que o liberalismo é um lugar de maior liberdade? Porque muitas dessas pessoas que também patrocinam a arte, pelo menos na minha experiência no mercado de arte, são não exatamente alinhadas com discursos de liberdade de expressão e de direitos humanos também. Como é que você vê essa questão entre essa negociação de conteúdo com o mercado neoliberal?
It's a complicated question.
It is.
And I think most art appeal in the public either through sponsorship from state or private. It always would have this kind of problem. My case, I never really take any censorship. If there's censorship, I don't have to show, or I don't have to play that, in that game. But I clearly understand the game is existing in most so-called cultural activities, and I think to not to be part of the game is a political statement, and also you gave a clear signal to the people who want to involve you in this kind of game.
Robinson.
O senhor já fez vários trabalhos muito críticos com relação a uma espécie de visão caricatural do exterior em relação à China, né? No século XIX surgiu uma leitura até racista do perigo amarelo. Como que o senhor vê o problema dessa incompreensão hoje, sendo que a China caminha, ou já é a segunda maior potência do mundo, e o mundo caminha para uma espécie de bipolaridade? Quais são os perigos dessa incompreensão, dessa dificuldade de compreender a China nessa esfera global?
I think there's danger from both sides. First, China, how we think China as a culture or as a state or as a party. And I think Chinese party, so-called the Communist Party, it really presents a danger because it doesn't really recognize very essential values. We call it common values, all those like freedom of speech, like a free press, about like election, democratic structure. They don't believe it. They also think that is nothing you can really negotiate about. It's beyond discussion. So I think that poses a danger. So if that party represents a state, of course that presents a danger because that state is not a stable condition. It's facing turmoils internally, and not to even see all the argument between China and other states. But if you talk about culturally, and to say one race or the one territory or one religion is a danger, I think that's a discrimination, and that's a misunderstanding, and only shows you don't have the understanding of the human nature.
Professor WeiWei, deixa eu fazer uma pergunta. O senhor ficou preso vários anos e todos que seguiam a sua trajetória até temeram pela sua própria vida. Acho que as pessoas que seguiam a sua trajetória ficaram com medo e, de repente, o governo chinês podia desaparecer com o senhor. O senhor se considera, assim, um sobrevivente, porque eles acabaram dando um passaporte para o senhor pode sair, não é, da China e ir para outro país. Mas o senhor se considera um sobrevivente?
Well, I'm survivor in one particular condition. It's like to be secretly detained. But I'm not a survivor of this existing power because they are very strong. 2 of my lawyers are still serving time in jail, and many of my friends, they are still under the secret detention. So, and also, if you're human rights, so-called activist or defending human rights, and the danger is not always in China, it could be also elsewhere.
A gente está, infelizmente, nosso tempo está terminando, então eu queria fazer perguntas rápidas e se eu puder dar respostas rápidas. O senhor tem um ídolo?
No.
Não. O senhor tem um artista predileto?
No.
Não? Não. Mas o senhor, quando saiu da China, disse que seria um Van Gogh na volta, não é isso? Pelo que eu li.
I made a mistake.
O senhor gosta de música?
No.
Não. Tem algum livro de cabeceira?
There's a lot, but I cannot name it book by book. Yeah.
Ok. O senhor se lembra de algum verso do seu pai? Que o senhor guarde sempre?
No.
Não?
No.
O senhor não gostaria de falar um verso ou uma frase que lembre do seu pai?
No.
Não? O senhor tem um sonho? Fora esses que o senhor teve no Brasil, eróticos? Um sonho para a humanidade, para a China, para o Brasil?
No, I only have sexy dreams.
Muito obrigado e obrigado a todos que vieram aqui. Estamos chegando ao final de mais essa edição do Roda Viva. Agradeço a participação do Robinson Borges, do Jochen Volz, da Márcia Fortes, do Fernando Schüler e do Marcello Dantas, do Ivan Finotti e do nosso cartunista residente, Paulo Caruso. Agradeço também a você que nos acompanhou até agora, especialmente ao artista Ai WeiWei. Boa noite, boa semana a todos e até a próxima segunda.
Thank you.